slides up here for you really quick. This is my first in-person workshop in a year and a half. So exciting. I'm thrilled. It's just like, I think many of you, raise your hand if you have been leading things or meetings and things on Zoom for the last year and a half. It's a whole different experience. And it's like a whole different learning curve. And this is just so great. So thank you, Leticia. Thank you, Kiln staff and team, for Allison. Thank you for having me. My name is Kat Short, and I'm the founder of a company called Tell Your Damn Story. And my purpose is to help individuals and companies talk about what they do in a way that makes the right things happen for them. So to generate the right activity. I love this work. I think I've been doing it my entire life, and I just made a business out of it about 5 years ago. But one of my favorite things to do in the whole world is to help individuals talk about their mission, their purpose, their why statement, why they do what they do. So before we get started, just to give us a second to kind of detangle from whatever we were dealing with before and drop into the space, we're actually going to do just a 2-minute meditation. And I have a little meditation timer, and you'll hear a ding at the beginning and a ding at the end. And you can feel free to close your eyes, put both feet on the floor. You don't have to close your eyes. It's just the opportunity for you to give yourself the gift of presence and arrive here. So you'll hear the ding. I have a cute little meditation cat here for you, saying well done. So when I think about storytelling, especially purpose-driven storytelling, I think of it in 2 camps. So there are the stories that we tell ourselves, the narratives going on in our brain all day, every day. And then there are the stories we tell the world, and how oftentimes those stories going on in our heads, how they manifest and come out of our mouths and into the world, how we talk about ourselves. And so we are going to start by talking about the stories that we tell ourselves. And so I like to think of this in terms of superpowers. And when I think about superpowers, I think of them as something that every single person has. Every single one of you has a superpower. Your superpower is not necessarily the thing that you do for work. Your superpower is probably not marketing. It's something a little deeper than that. And it's kind of like, I like to think of it as the umbrella of your life, and all of the other things kind of fall underneath it. And so when you think about the superpower, it's your unique contribution to the world. And some examples of how this shows up in people's lives, these are some clients that I've worked with. I know a lawyer, and his superpower is translation. He's able to take the complex landscape of the law and translate it so that us mortals can understand. I know a doctor who is a disruptor, she's taking modalities from all over the world, all over the globe, and kind of integrating them into a holistic health practice. There is a financial advisor who's a healer, because we have money stuff, we just do, everyone does. And he's able to kind of walk people through that in a really nurturing, nourishing way that heals some of the traumas that they've experienced around money. And then there's an artist who's also an activist who uses her voice and her brilliant paintings to express the world that she sees and the way that she knows that the world can be a more just, more equitable world for everyone. And so when I think about these superpowers, and I want you to look at this list. This is a very small list of some of the superpowers that people have. I think you'll start to see like how some of these probably show up in your own life. And so for example, when I was growing up, I identified myself as being very shy. And I would walk up to someone, I would introduce myself, and I would say, "Hi, I'm Kat. I'm shy." And when I got into the storytelling work, I looked up the word, and I started studying etymology, which is the study of the origin of words. And I looked into what shy meant. And shy, the origin of the word shy was timid and nervous and just missing the mark on something. And so I was walking into every space I was going into being like, "Hi, I'm Kat. I'm nervous and timid and shy." And it's like that was not the story I wanted to be portraying to the world at all. And so I went out in search of a new story, a new way to describe myself, and I came across the word observe. And what observe means, the origin of that word, is to watch with the intent to understand. And I was like, yes, that is what I do. I'm not shy. I just need to like watch and kind of step back before I engage. And that, I think, in our society can show up as shyness or standoffishness. You know, have any of you identified yourselves as shy ever? Anyone? Yeah. Like, it doesn't really resonate, but it's kind of something that's been placed on us, right? And so when you're thinking about the word, your superpower, and what you're here to do, like I ask you after this workshop is over to go and actually look up those words. Like, find the one that really resonates, that really like feels like it integrates into your bones and sees all of you. So my work shows up. I'm an observer. My work shows up in storytelling. I spend my days listening to people tell me the story of their business, listen to people telling me the story of their life, and I help them kind of pick out the golden thread of that story. Because when we're in our story all the time, every day, 24/7, we can't see it. We can't see the forest for the trees, right? We may be a wonderful writer. We may be amazing at telling other people's stories, but it's very hard to do it for ourselves. And I think that's why all of you are here, probably, right? Because you're having a really hard time getting that why statement down for yourself. And like, okay, I know what I do, but how do I talk about what I do, right? So, and I also want to mention that I am a little bit hard of hearing. And so when I do call on people to share, if you can just look directly at me and kind of project your voice, that would be very helpful. Thank you. So now we're going to talk about the stories we tell the world. And so during this workshop, you're going to have an opportunity to journal through some guiding prompts. And we're going to really get to the center of that superpower. And then we're going to build out your why statement, your purpose statement. And you're going to have the opportunity to share it with each other. And then if you feel so compelled to get in front of the room and share it with us and also the people on live stream. We are live streaming this. So if there's anything that you don't feel comfortable sharing with the greater whole, that is fine. Like, totally respect that. So I'm not going to call on anyone and make you come up here. Just know that. So the story that we tell the world, I like to think of storytelling in the terms of actually I'm going to go one more. Sorry. So there are the stories that lead us in the right direction, lead us to the connections, the opportunities that we really want. And then there are stories that lead us down the wrong path. And this is the story trap. So a story trap, I call this a disempowering story perpetuated out of habit, fear, and conditioning. An example of this is when I started my business 5 years ago, I was really resistant to walking into a room being like, "Hi, I'm a story coach." I thought that people would reject it, and I kind of made that assumption. And so I dumbed it down, and whenever someone asked me what I did for work, I said, "I build websites." And this is how that story trap went. So someone would come up to me, they would say, "Hi, what do you do?" I'd say, "I build websites." They're like, "Oh my God, can you build me a website?" And 6 months later, I'm like, "Why the hell am I still building websites?" And this is not what I wanted to do with my life, with my time. I did not want to build websites. But when you're telling a story like that, you are putting something out into the world and you're going to get back what you're putting out. And so I actually want to open up the room for a second and think to yourself, like, is there a story that you're telling kind of out of, it can even just be a story you've been telling almost your entire career about what you do that is no longer true, that's bringing things into your life that you don't want to be there anymore. Like perhaps you spent your entire career being a marketing consultant, and now you're a writer and you're writing a book, but you're kind of doing that on the side and you're not really telling anyone about it. And so you keep getting more like marketing clients and no generation for your writing. Does that happen? So I want to open it up. What is a story that you're telling that is kind of giving you dead ends or leading you down a path that you don't actually want to go down? Anybody have one? I can think about it for a second. Yeah? What's yours?
I keep saying people ask what I do with my nonprofit. I say, oh, I run yoga retreats because I didn't want to say everything the actual experience is. And
Hmm.
now people are like, oh, I'm not interested in a yoga retreat. I'm like, oh, shit, but it's not a yoga
Yeah,
retreat.
yeah.
But I keep saying it, and it's not. But it's so interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes total sense that we do that because there is so much to us. And sometimes we're lazy, or sometimes we're afraid, or sometimes we're just like running to a different meeting and we don't have time to actually engage, which is why it's so important to just get really clear on what I call your SEO. So, is everybody familiar with search engine optimization? Do you know what that is? So, it's like you go into Google, you put in a keyword, and it auto populates like the highest sites for that particular keyword. So, as humans, we work in almost the exact same way our brains do. We are constantly scanning our surroundings, we're constantly listening for keywords that we can relate to. So, things we like, things we don't like. We talk to someone and they start talking about Bitcoin. We don't know anything about Bitcoin and we kind of shut down. So, that they're not telling a story that is going to resonate with us. However, like we walk over here and we talk to someone else who they opened a nonprofit in Africa. We spent half of our life in Africa. Suddenly we're alive. We're engaged in the conversation. These keywords are so important, and I call this story engine optimization because it's like this is a generative engine that you are creating based on keywords that actually like lift you up towards where you want to go instead of dragging you down to somewhere you don't want to be. Does that make sense? And the beauty of storytelling and the beauty of finding this mission statement for yourself is that you can continually change it and shift it and rework it and edit it until it's generating the right things for you in your life. You're not stuck with one story. We oftentimes think we are. We're not. We are in full control of the stories that we tell, both ourselves and the world. And that's a lot of pressure, but it's actually kind of empowering too, right? So I'm going to give you about 10 minutes, and if you want to switch sides, I want you to take a second and just journal your answers to these questions. And it's okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is just kind of stream of consciousness, jotting down what the first thing that comes to you when you read these questions. And for the people in live stream, I invite you to also do this in your own journals. That would be great. And we are going to break out into small groups. However, so if you want to continue journaling through that time, that is also fine. And I'll let you know when that starts. 2 more minutes. Thirty more seconds. All right. Those of you who are still writing, go ahead. But how did that feel? Did things come pouring out of you? Was it a little sticky? Is it pretty open? Okay. So we are going to break out into small groups in just a second, but first I want to do just a quick bop around exercise to kind of like let us get to know each other just a little bit of who's in the space. So I'm going to start with you, Lei, and you are just going to say your name, and you are going to say what you say to someone when they ask you this right now. Okay? Hi. So what do you do? What's your name? What do you do?
My name is Leticia, and I founded a nonprofit organization called 109 World, and we run workshops and retreats around the world to help people live more mindful lives.
Awesome. And what would you say, like on a scale from 1 to 10, how close does that feel to like what you do and what you want to communicate? 1 being the least amount, 10 being the most.
Using what I just said to you,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say 4.
4. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. What about you?
Yeah, and I work in clinical research.
You what?
Clinical research.
You work in clinical research. Okay. On a scale from 1 to 10, how aligned is that for what you actually do?
That's what I do.
Good. So it's pretty close. Great. Great. And does that it probably, what I would venture to say is that it doesn't open up a whole lot of conversation for people when you tell them that. They're like, oh, cool. Or if they're a clinical researcher, they're like, great, let's talk about it, right? There's like 2 camps. Cool. Okay. Thank you. What about you?
Hi, my name is Flavia, and I own a pet store and grooming store.
Oh, awesome. A pet and grooming store. Amazing. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how aligned is that for what you want to do and also like who you want to be in the world? Is that pretty aligned?
1 to 10,
1 to 10, yeah. 1 being the least, 10 being the most.
I think 9.
9. Amazing. Thank you. What about you? Hello.
I'm Lara Murphy, and I help businesses and individuals articulate their message.
Amazing. We have a lot to talk about. And on a scale from 1 to 10, how true is that to what you want to be and do in the world?
I'm getting there real close.
Good.
I'd say
Like a 9?
9.
Amazing. Thank you. So good to meet you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Megan Russ.
Hello.
And I'm an architect. I own a boutique firm here, and have an office in Macomb.
Amazing. And an architect, on a scale from 1 to 10, how aligned is that with what you want to, the legacy that you want to leave behind?
It's like a 7 or 8.
Okay, that's pretty high.
Simple, but it is important.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. What about you?
I'm Elizabeth.
Hello.
I consider myself a freelance visual designer right now.
Okay. Awesome.
On a scale of 1 to 10, probably around a 4.
Okay. Cool. That's amazing. Thank you. And you.
I'm Haley, and I'm a wedding photographer.
Awesome. And cool. That's amazing. That's a hard job, by the way. And how aligned is that for how you want to move forward?
I would say how I want to move forward. I think like answering the what like is that whenever you ask like how aligned is that with the legacy you want to leave behind? That question I can answer
Mm.
more clearly, and I feel like it's my school for now.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you. And what about you? What do you do? He's like, I look cute, and it's a 10. And you?
I'm Lily.
Hi.
I'm a digital artist.
Okay.
I'm pretty new to it, so it's what I want to do, but I'd still give myself a 6.
Yeah.
I want to define it a bit more.
Cool. Good for you for taking the leap into that. I can imagine I know that's very hard. So good for you. Thank you all for sharing that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like it's probably good for the company for your exercise.
Yeah.
When I answer that, I say I'm a director at a co-working space, and I would say like a 2.
Ah, and you're a what at a co-working space?
A director at a co-working.
Director. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to integrate you into this group so that we have clean groups of 3. So if you want to come forward, we're actually going to break you out. So you 3 are going to be together. You 3 and you 3. And so if you want to, because we're distancing, you can kind of like just turn your chairs kind of towards each other in a little circle. And Allison, you can, yeah, come on over. And no, I don't need anyone to do anything with the. Did we go? Okay. Yeah, I get that. It's hard to condense. It really is. Okay. So what I'm going to have you all do okay. So you are going to go around the circle and you are going to share what you wrote down. And I actually have like an active listening exercise for the people listening to the person sharing. I would like you to, as you're listening, jot down any like key words or phrases that the person says that makes them light up. Like watch them, watch their body language when they're speaking about something. Usually when we're speaking about something we love or something we love to do, we change, our body structure changes. Suddenly our eyes light up. It's hard to tell behind the mask, but the body language does change. So just be an observer in this and watch for those subtle clues that someone is kind of on the right track. And so we're going to go around first, and then we'll go around one more time, and everybody will be able to share what they noticed about the other 2 people in the group. Does that make sense? Okay, so first, you're each going to have 2 minutes to just kind of share what you wrote down, and then I'll stop you, and then we'll go around one more time, and you'll reflect to the people that shared with you. Sound good? Yes. I believe so. Yeah, that's an agreement with the group. So if everybody's okay with it, yeah, absolutely, that's totally fine. And for those of you on live stream, I invite you to either dive back into the questions that you answered before and kind of like highlight or like pull out words or phrases that really stuck out to you that maybe you haven't noticed before, and actually explore those further. So actually go deeper into what those particular keywords or messages mean to you. And ready, go. Move to the second person if you haven't already. Move to the third person if you haven't already. 30 more seconds. All right, yeah. So, so now it's going to be a lot shorter. So just I'll give you 3 minutes. So 1 minute per person, and you'll just be able to. You're going to go around and kind of reflect to the other 2 people what you noticed about what they were sharing. Okay, ready, go. Mm-hmm. 30 more seconds. Once your group feels complete, go ahead and turn back towards the front. Welcome back. Oh, they're still working. Okay. How was that for you all? Was it good? Yeah? It feels good to listen to other people's stories, doesn't it? And like really listen. I love it so much.
The exercise really works. Like to
Yeah.
see how he changes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really surprising the things we miss.
Asked us to pay attention, otherwise I wouldn't
Right.
be intentional in like looking at that. But
Right.
when you say like look for those, I'm like, oh, those things are there.
Right. The magic is there. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that reflection. All right. So, how was that? Like, thumbs up, middle, down? Good? Yeah? Good. Thank you for being so open with each other and sharing. I know most of you have just met, so that's like a beautiful thing that you're showing up to. So, thank you. So, what we are going to do now is I am going to invite you to put these kind of nuggets and pieces and the things that people reflected back to you into a cohesive statement. And we're going to workshop this, don't worry. But I'm going to give you a prompt of, next one, sorry. Oh, no, never mind, this is the wrong one. Let's see, just want to make sure it's, I'm sharing with you again, sorry, it's the wrong one. Let me see if you want to refresh, that might be good. Oh, there it is, that's the right one, yeah. Yep, thank you. Thanks, sorry about that. Realized I was missing the, and if you go down to 14. Up, one back. There we go. Yes. Okay. So this is kind of like the mission statement prompt that you are going to use to put this all together. I want to preface, I'm a perfectionist too, and this doesn't have to be perfect, but I am going to take you through mine and give you an example of what it looks and sounds like. So, hello, I'm Kat Short. I am here to help people uncover and understand and share their beautiful, powerful, unique stories. I do this because when I was born, I came into the world as basically a big surprise. My biological mother was 14 when she had me, and she went to the hospital one night complaining of stomach pains, and she thought she had appendicitis, and I was born that night. And I was put into foster care and then adopted by a wonderful family about 2 weeks later. And so I came into the world without a story at all. Like, no one even knew I was coming. And my entire life has been in search of both my story and the story of the people around me, because I believe that storytelling grounds us so much in who we are, where we came from, our meaning, our purpose, the beauty of our work, and why we're here. And if we don't have a story, or if we don't feel connected to our story, it's a very ungrounding and kind of listless place to be. I'm sure we've all been there a little bit, of just kind of feeling lost. It's not a good feeling. And I'm here to serve mission-driven individuals and businesses, and help them share what they do with purpose and share what they do in a way that makes the right things happen for them. I'm actually currently writing a book, and I'm seeking help in that realm of any kind, like anyone who has written a book, an agent, a publisher, someone who is just really interested in having a dynamic conversation with me about creativity and what it's like to actually sit down and write something. And so that is my kind of mission statement. And the reason that I have it here like this is you're sharing all the pieces of the puzzle. So like what happened when I went around to the room and said, what do you do? And you kind of focus just on what you're doing right now. So it's like, I'm a research consultant, right? What was it? Research? Yes. and you kind of just focus like very narrowly on the thing that you're doing, how it's showing up in your life right now, and you miss an opportunity to share why you do the work, and also how someone can take a step towards you and actually help you, like in service. Like, what are you looking for now? What's the next right step? And that is like where those really engaging opportunities come from. That's where jobs come from. That's where new friends come from. That's where a lot of different dynamic possibilities come from. So that's why I have structured it in this way. So you are going to take a minute and you're going to write down your answers to these in a cohesive form. And just jot something down. We're going to do a little workshop, and I'm going to answer some questions right after this, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So yes, ready, go. About a minute and a half left. coming up. So the beauty of this type of container is that it can be used in so many different ways. So think about it this way. Think about a website. These are the 4 things that every homepage should have in this order. Like what you do, why you do it, who you serve, and how to take a step closer to you. An email you send, a cold email, reach out to someone. Do it in this order. Your LinkedIn profile, do it in this order. Like this is so compact, and it really it answers all the questions that someone might have about who you are, what you do, why you do it, and who you serve. And those are like the main things, right, that make us like either want to or not want to engage. And I do want to preface this by saying that your story and your mission is not going to be for everybody. Like the way that you talk about your work might make someone be like, it doesn't resonate with me. I don't think this is the person for me, and that's a blessing. Like we don't want to connect to everybody. Like Marie Forleo says that when you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. Like that's true. We want to talk to that specific person that really resonates with what we do, how we do it, and who we are. Because that's where those juicy like 1,000 true fans come from. That every person, every business really wants. That's where our best friends come from. Is when we're telling our authentic story, we're telling the truth about ourselves and our work, and we attract those people that are like-minded like us, and we kind of like detract the rest. And that's a beautiful thing. That saves us time. That brings better leads to our businesses. And it weeds out the people who are going to be time wasters or just who are not actually going to be able to serve well because we are not aligned, right? So I just want to open it up for a second and ask, how was that? And is there a way that I can help? Is anybody stuck on something? Are you oscillating between a few things? Do you have any questions?
I got stuck on serve.
On the serve?
On serve.
Mm.
Because I think, like, I don't see myself as serving someone else. I see myself like working in alignment with clients
Mm. Yeah.
as a contractor.
Yeah.
And no one's serving the other one. We're collaborating.
Okay.
So
Totally. Yeah.
that was the one where I was like,
That makes sense.
So I just said I serve like design gods.
You serve what?
Design gods?
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I hear that, and like I would say that it's not that you're serving. You're not like a waitress or a waiter like serving someone something. It's like you're in service of something, and you're helping someone else based on the gifts that you have, which I view to be service, like an act of service, right? Which is you're offering up your gift to somebody else, So I hear the stickiness around that word, and I think that like maybe reframing it to be being in service and not serving could be helpful. Does that make sense?
I'm here to provide.
Yeah, provide. That's another great one. Exactly. Yeah. Or yeah, I love that. Who else? Any other questions? Yes.
I think it's interesting that I saved your origin why story for last,
Hmm.
and I feel like we're probably common.
Yep. What can you say more about that?
Well, there's like erase marks and crossed out things, so not a ton, but it's just interesting because I think that's obviously the root and feeds everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoy the simplicity of the prompt, even though it carries so much weight.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And the truth is, like, you're obviously not going to walk into a room and meet someone when we have cocktail parties again or networking events. You're not going to walk in and say, "Hello, I'm here to," But what this is doing is this is helping you get really clear on those keywords that you want to use when you're in conversation with another person. So when someone asks you like, "Oh my gosh, I love what you do. I want to hear more about that," you know how to talk about what you're doing. And when someone says, "How do I help you?" you know exactly what you're asking for. And like this is the thing that changes the most, which is like as your business grows and as you get closer to various things, you're going to want and need different things from different people. And so this is kind of the thing that is the most like mobile, because it's going to probably change, like could be every week, like every month, every year. Your goals will change. And so that's like an important thing to note about that. Who would actually like feel comfortable sharing up in front of the room what they wrote down. No one's making eye contact with me. She is. Yeah, we have wine. If you share, you get wine. Everyone gets wine, but still. Yay! Thank you for being so brave. And I'm actually going to give you this so that the folks on live stream can hear as well.
Okay. Can everyone hear me? And then I'll just, and then I'll, oh, thank you. Too many things. Okay. So I'm Megan Rux, MBX Architecture. And I'm here to design beautiful spaces. It's simple, it's easy, it's really fun. It's a jazz. I do this because I was a quirky kid and I was a field archaeologist, and that's how I paid my way through school. And as an archaeologist, you walked around the field and you found objects in space. And from that object, you determined what behavior was occurring. You would see flint napping, and you knew someone was creating tools. You saw a campsite, someone was staying there. That you were looking at objects and determining what activity was occurring. And so I started to do the opposite with architecture. You talk to a client and they tell you what they love, what they need, what activity they're doing, and you start thinking of the space. So you go the other direction, but it's fun, that interaction. And I just love it. Like, that part of the process is so fun. Like, I love it when a client says, I want a warm space. What the fuck does that mean? Like, yeah, fireplace? Yeah, want a duvet? Like, I don't know. But it's the process of getting to know them and understanding like what that is. And by warm space, somebody's like, I like spaces I like to dance in. Okay, well, we need a flat floor, you know? And like that to them, I need a table where I have my family at. Like, that's the warm space that creates that space. Sometimes it's just wood in a fireplace, though. So that's how I got there. So I'm here to serve the design gods, because if it don't look good, don't do it. And but I'm here also to provide my clients with amazing buildings to help them grow. The last one was hard, and I'm seeking guidance on how to grow a firm. How do you go from only relying on yourself to relying on others? And that could be challenging to ask for help. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. That was amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so based on that story, so putting those two together, how she introduced herself at the beginning and how she introduced herself just then, how many of you want to know, help, or hire her now? Right? Thanks, you guys. you
Mailing list after the event.
You offered up so many things that I felt personally compelled to just like talk to you about. Like, I want to know about archaeology, I want to know about space, I want to know about warmth, all the things. Like, great job. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that was really impressive. Who wants to go next? She set a beautiful stage up here. She warmed it up for us. She warmed the space. Yes, come on up. Yes.
So many things to balance. Figure this out. Okay. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay, so I am Elizabeth Austin. I only recently joined Kiln, but I'm very excited to be here today. And I will now introduce myself. So I am here to educate other designers on how to positively impact through the resources and educational materials that I create. So I do this because I myself had a very tough time navigating the world of design, and also just kind of figuring out the kind of impacts that I can have within it. I started off as an engineer in college, and I quickly realized that it missed a lot of the human components that I find important when I solve for problems. And I went through a lot of different directions and a lot of different paths to ultimately figure out the best way that I could impact others and create positive change. I worked at an architecture firm, I worked at a cable company, I worked at a children's museum, but throughout all of those instances, the things that I realized most was that I did my best work when I was supporting others in achieving their missions and goals, especially when those others were, especially junior people to me, that were trying to figure out the same things that I had just figured out. So I'm here to serve those who want to learn how they can meaningfully impact others and create a positive social change. And I want to help them basically find the resources and learn the things that took me forever to find out. So, however, the thing that I'm currently seeking right now is more experience, because I completely acknowledge the fact that I am still really early in my career. I only graduated from college last year, so it's very difficult for me to say that I am someone who can provide all this wisdom and knowledge when I myself still have so much to learn. So that is me in a nutshell.
Great job. Gosh, that was so good. I feel like a proud mama.
Thank you. A lot about this lately.
That was really, really beautiful. Based on that, how many of you want to no help or hire her? Yeah. And I would actually push a little farther and invite you to actually draw a Venn diagram of education and design, and what that middle part is and what that means to you. Like, actually write a definition for like what that is for you. Like, I think that could be really helpful too in like fleshing out like your website and things like that. But great job. Yeah. Who else wants to go? Want to go? Come on up. I'm so impressed with you all. I know. I lied.
I'll remember that, Kat.
I love my necklace, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? I'm Lara Darby. I'm here at Kiln a couple months now, I think. And this is a really fantastic opportunity. Thank you for having us. So the way I introduce myself now is that I want to follow you here. I am here to share the art of self-mastery so that together we can create a more peaceful and harmonious world. And I do this because I have not experienced, I did not experience self-mastery or personal mastery as a kid. I didn't learn social and emotional intelligence as a kid. And what I did learn, it was kind of in a way that was more, it wasn't, it ignored like tone and delivery. So it really focused on like content. So my mom would, teach me how to be assertive, but it came across as aggressive. And I never learned like how the subtle nuances of communicating and articulating what I wanted and needed in a way that like resonated with other people. So, so I struggled with that. And now, I have learned so much about it because as soon as I could read, I was, reading things on this and trying to figure out how to get along in the world, in a peaceful and harmonious way. So I'm here to serve individuals, businesses, and help them clearly articulate their message. I can see where there might be a disconnect here because it's clearly articulating the message really comes from my marketing background. And so I've been a marketer my whole life, but really articulating your message is about mastering yourself, like knowing who you are very clearly and what it is you're here to do. So I need to beautiful. Thank you. See, I knew I'd learn something. And then, right now, I'm seeking mission-driven businesses and clients to move my work forward, because those are the people and the organizations that really hit me, especially kids and animals. So teaching kids emotional intelligence skills when they're this big, they're going to grow up to be, a lot more adept than I was, and they probably won't, their rage won't escalate into, violence. And, there's bigger things that this will solve at a very, very early age. So, yeah, thank you.
One question for you. Sure. Just I'm curious how you define mastery.
Oh, yes.
That's so great. Thank you. Good job. How many of you want to know, help, or hire her? I do? Yep. Great job. Time for one more. I want to open it up to just general questions, but yeah, one more. If anyone is really feeling like performing, who knows when you get another chance to be in an actual room talking about things in front of people. I'm just saying. I could do that because she's my friend.
I can't, you know why? Because I told Allison, I've done this workshop, I love it, and I still haven't figured it out.
Get on up here. I believe you.
Do this. Okay.
An amazing jacket as well.
Oh, thank you. I got a lot of compliments. You wear more often. Okay. So, my name is Leticia. I'm originally from Brazil, São Paulo. I am a founder of a nonprofit called 109 World, and I am here to help anyone looking to live a more mindful and happier life. I do this because for almost 5 years, I witnessed very influential people in politics, in the private sector and the public sector interact with their team and their families very poorly and treat themselves very poorly as well. But think that that was not a problem because their professional life was so impactful for the rest of the world. They were doing very amazing job, really impacting millions of lives around the world. And they would use that as a justification, like an excuse to be like, I don't have time to treat myself better. I don't have time to go to my kids' soccer every Saturday because I'm bringing water to, I don't know, East Africa, whatever that is. Or I have a meeting with the president. And for me, for 4 years to see that, and I was a victim of that because I was part of a lot of those teams, so I was treated very poorly as well. And I would see them going stages and being on national television talking about all the work they're doing. And I'm like, this dude is an asshole, like with a lot of people in his closest circle, So for me, it was like a realization that I had that it doesn't matter how impactful your organization or your service or your product is. If you are continuing to be your own worst boss or continue to treat your team or your family poorly, you're taking one step forward and 2 steps back. So I decided to quit that job and start the nonprofit 109. Do I need to say I am here to serve? I started a nonprofit to serve anyone that would like to learn how to take better care of themselves and their surroundings, and help them feel happier and fulfilled, and therefore, as a consequence, make their closest, surrounding their closest circle feel happier and more fulfilled as well. I am currently finishing a wellness online training certification program, And I am seeking partners to help me take the training to college students and to corporations that already have wellness or mindfulness programs implemented in their companies. And that would definitely help me move my work forward.
How many of you want to know, help, or hire her? Yay. There was something that kept coming up when you were talking about, I kept envisioning like circles, and so like the circle of the planet, and how our impact has like a ripple effect in circles, and so like you were saying, like the big CEOs and executives, like their ripple effect of impact is huge in the world. However, in their immediate circle of friends or even their close circle, it's neglected, and so it's like it should. I just saw like on your website, like you're having an impact here. What is your impact like here? Yeah. And like with the 109 in the Maldives, that actually is also in a circle. So I was like, but that was kind of fun. Thank you for sharing. That is no small feat. That's hard to do. And I appreciate those of you who volunteered readily, and also those of you who let me coax you into coming up. But I would like to just open the floor for questions in general. It doesn't have to be around this particular mission statement, just any questions you have about messaging, storytelling in general. I'm here to be a resource. Yes. Yeah. It really, I love that, and it really does. It takes taking all this information and ruthlessly editing to kind of like the core. And you can do that by, you can actually edit, like going through and being like what are the keywords here and how do I form that into a 2 to 3 sentence mission statement? That's one way to do it. You can also do like the 3 or 5 whys of like, I'm here to do this, and then ask yourself why, and then why again. And that kind of like hones things down to like a little bit more of a digestible nugget. It's also helpful to like send it out to like 5 to 10 people in your network that know you both personally and professionally, and be like, what do you think of this? And also, what is most important? What sticks out to you the most in this? Because sometimes we can't see it. It's like when we were hearing each other's stories and reflecting back what was important. That actually has been so helpful, is to get another pair of eyes on it, someone that actually knows you and is invested in you and your success, to look at it and help you kind of whittle it down. Because like, yes, we can be long-winded. We have a lot of stories. We have a lot of passion behind what we're doing. And sometimes it can be hard to edit. So I would say, start with trying to do it by yourself, by asking yourself why, and then sending it out to your close family members and friends and be like, does this reflect what I do? Based on how you know me, does this reflect what I do? Does this make you interested in what I'm doing? Like asking for help, like she was saying. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And another exercise that is actually really beneficial now that you're saying this is to define your thing, define the impact, like actually create a definition for your thing. So I define storytelling. I define story trap. You define like what circle of impact means to you, like what those keywords, like you define what design, what beauty means to you, what warmth means to you, what architecture means to you, based on, through your unique lens of archaeology, like actually adding that into a definition that you can share with someone. Because when you have a business, when you're doing a line of work, you are that's you bringing your unique blend of and recipe of all the things, experiences, people that you have, and the person that you are. And so your definition is not going to be like anybody else's definition of architecture. It's just not, because the way you see the world is so different than anybody else, right? And so like actually creating a definition for your thing is like solid. Yeah. Yes.
I think it was really interesting how you asked us in the first one, what was the moment I knew I had to pursue this work?
Mm.
Because that actually took me to a place different than what I've been before. Because
Mm.
maybe some of you in the process here have gone through this and like remind your stories for why you're here.
Right.
It's like it's an ongoing process. But the story that I've been sort of operating with is way different from the one that I came with. What was the moment I knew I had to pursue this work? And even more so, I mean, I can remember the moment, but it was way before I even had worked with my consciousness.
Mm.
So,
Right.
but I went back to that,
Mm.
which shifted my soul a little bit, which is why up there I was a little bit like, okay, this is taking a different shape now.
Right. Right.
And then also
I love
what
that.
you just said about defining it, I think is very, because you asked me to define self-mastery.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to me? What does architecture mean to you? What does it mean?
Yeah.
So I think those
Yeah.
are two just really helpful
Good.
points. So
Good.
these aren't questions, they're just sitting next to each other.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That means the world to me. Yeah. And it's like exactly like self-mastery. It's not how you define how anyone defines self-mastery. It's how you define self-mastery. It's how you define architecture. It's how you define artistry. You know, it's how you define impact, purpose, like storytelling. You know, like that's the magic sauce. Thank
I
you.
really like this process because as a woman, there are times I'm apprehensive when people are like, "Are you good at your job?" Like guys are like, "Oh, I'm fucking amazing," and I think women we tend to like kind of downplay our impact
Mm-hmm.
and and
Oh,
oh
did he get sick?
oh yeah.
Poor little guy.
Am I being too sexist?
Oh, oh he ate a plant. Poor little thing.
Yeah, Haley, I'll take care of it.
Oh, poor little thing. Okay, little levity. Yep. For those of you on live stream who can't see, we've had a little vomit issue with one of the dogs here, so everything's fine. But I'm sorry, I want to let you finish though. Yeah. You were saying how men kind of are so ready to be like, this is what I do, I'm amazing, and women don't do that.
It's hard. I actually, in an interview with clients like a week and a half ago, and it was a great conversation. And then they said, "Well, why should we hire you compared to all the other architects we're interviewing?" And I was like, I was like, I'm funnier than most architects. I was like, I don't know how to say something like I'm really amazing and I'm good. Like I feel disingenuous saying it, even though it must be true. But I like this process because I speak like my truth of my process, and if that connects to them, great.
Right.
If it doesn't, then so that I like this process.
Good. Good. It allows you to come from that more empowered space and really feel rooted in why you do what you do and why you love what you do. And then if a person is like, this is awesome, but it's not for me, you can be like, thank you, because then that opens up new space for another person to come that's like, oh my God, you're everything I've ever wanted, And it's like, yeah, thank you for that reflection. Yeah. And I'm glad that this was helpful. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? No? Okay. Well, I just have one quick thing to read to you. It's just a little manifesto for my business. And I just want you to really take it to heart as you leave here and as you, the next one. And as the world starts opening up again, and as you have the opportunity to share more of who you are, and the opportunity to bring in more friends and clients and work and do the things, I just want you to hear this and like really let it sink in. There is no one like you. You are meant to use your uniqueness to push the world forward. You're not doing yourself or anyone else any good, sitting on the sidelines playing it safe or fighting to swim upstream. You deserve to have a peaceful, pleasurable, and prosperous relationship with your purpose. Don't wait until tomorrow. Start today. It's time to stand up, take a deep breath, and tell your damn story. Thank you all so much for joining me. This has been so wonderful. This is the best first thing back ever. So thank you. Thank you all for showing up so fully. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Oh, thanks.